history lovers. Welcome to This Tweet in History, the Week in Review 2X edition, podcasting to you on tape delay from our North America studios. Here are your top stories for the week ending November 28th and the week ending December 5th, 2009. World Week 1, Dateline Northwest U.S., November 25th, 1971. D.B. Cooper and his $200,000 ransom money parachute over Washington State, neither to be seen again. The backstory. On the day before Thanksgiving in 1971, D.B. Cooper, whose real name may never be known, boarded a Northwest Orient flight in Portland, Oregon. Once the plane was airborne, he handed a flight attendant a note saying that he had a bomb in his briefcase and demanding $200,000 in cash and 3 parachutes. His demands were relayed to the airline, which readied the money and parachutes at SeaTac Airport. On the ground, Cooper exchanged the passengers for the money and the chutes. Airborne again, he opened the door and leapt to his fate. Although some fragments of the money were recovered years later, what ultimately became of Cooper and his loot is not known. World Week 2, Dateline Europe, November 30, 1700. Sweden's teenage King Charles, vastly outmanned, outflanks, outfights Russian forces at Narva. The backstory. With Sweden, the dominant Baltic power, on the move, and being led by the newly crowned 18-year-old King Charles XII, its neighbors conspired to strike back. Beset on all sides, the young king launched a bold and largely successful invasion. In November, Russian forces arrived at Narva and laid siege to the Swedes. The outmanned Swedes assembled for battle and, seizing the opportunity provided by shifting winds of snow, went on the offensive, arriving up to 50 yards from the Russian lines without being spotted, shattering the line and forcing the Russian surrender. Sports, Week 1, Dateline Boston, November 24th, 1960. Wilt the Stilt grabs 55 boards. The backstory. In his day, Wilt Chamberlain was so dominant that the NBA instituted rule change just to even the odds against him. Even so, Chamberlain was able to reach such mind-boggling numbers as 100 points in a game, 4,029 points in a season, and single-season averages of 50 points per game and 27 rebounds per game. A dominant offensive player, he was also dominant on the boards. In his rookie season, he pulled down 45 rebounds in a single game, which still beats Charles Barkley's modern-era record of 45, but does not compare to Chamberlain's own 55 in a game, which came his sophomore season. Sports, Week 2, Dateline New York, December 1st, 1975. Griffin is first to win a second Heisman. The backstory. Ohio State halfback Archie Griffin is the only back to lead the Big Ten Conference in rushing for 3 straight years. His 5,589 yards with the Buckeyes were, at the time, a record, and he started in Rose Bowl games every year of his college career. In his sophomore year, he placed 5th in Heisman voting, taking home the award in his junior and senior years. Pending this year's Heisman voting, with Florida's Tim Tebow and Oklahoma's Sam Bradford eligible for a second win, Griffin is the only player to have won the trophy twice. Things that make you go, huh? Week 1, Dateline London, November 28, 1999. Naked guy with samurai sword pops in en masse, injuring 11. The backstory. Worshippers at St. Andrew's Roman Catholic Church in South London were greeted by a shocking interruption. The nude Eden Strang, believing them to be demons who had taken human form, entered with a samurai sword and began slashing wildly. Parishioners used whatever was at hand to stop the attack, and ultimately an off-duty police officer subdued Strang with a section of organ piping. Strang was confined to a psychiatric hospital, with much ado on his early release. Technology, Week 2. Dateline Silicon Valley, November 29, 1972. Pong's debut ushers in video game era. The backstory. Have you played Atari today? Nolan Bushnell and Ted Dabney founded Atari, investing $250 each. The two hired engineer Al Alcorn and gave him a busy work task which they expected nothing to come out of. The task? Design a game with 2 paddles and a ball. Alcorn took the assignment seriously and 3 months later came up with a prototype. The test version was placed in Andy Capp's Tavern in Sunnyvale, California, and on the first day got so much use that its coin box jammed. The game, with its simple instructions, avoid missing balls for high score, was a smash hit and became a video gaming icon. This week's birthdays: Week 1, November 22nd, French President Charles de Gaulle. November 23rd, U.S. President Franklin Pierce. November 24th, U.S. President Zachary Taylor. November 25th, Prohibitionist Carrie Nation. November 26th, Absurdist dramatist Eugene Ionesco. November 27th, martial artist Bruce Lee. And November 28th, Motown mogul Gordy Jr. Week 2, November 29th, Narnia Chronicler C.S. Lewis. November 30th, British statesman Sir Winston Churchill. December 1st, actor-director Woody Allen. December 2nd, Neo-impressionist Seurat. December 3rd, director Jean-Luc Godard. December 4th, Spanish dictator Franco. And December 5th, Mickey Mouse creator Walt Disney. Thank you for joining us for This Tweet in History, the Week in Review. Be sure to follow us on twitter.com/Histortweet and check our archives at histortweet.blogspot.com.